Hello beer tubers and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the master of hops. Today checking out a beer that I got from John, or Jon. In Denmark we say Jon, but in English we say John. And I think it's Jon as well in Swedish. But John sent me some beers from Brekeriet, and one of them, mainly he talked about this one, but he has sent to others as well. But this is a bottle of Brekeriet Stevns. I can smell it too, man. Brekeriet is a fantastic brewery. I've reviewed quite a few of the beers. The first beers I had from them were their cassis beers, which just like they were mind blowing back in the day. It was the first like high intensity, fruit. I think sour beers I had, and the cassis with black currants were amazing. They played around with a lot of things. They have this series called Wild now, which this is a part of, which is, I think I'm not 100% sure if the Wild series is barrel aged, but it also signifies that, there is some bugs going on. It's not kettle souring and whatnot. It's like wild beer with mixed cultures. So those drops taste really good. So Stevns, as it says here, is a natural beer aged in red wine barrels for 20 months and then blended with Danish sour cherries. It's made with water, barley malt, the Danish cherries, rye, and hops. But, I'm really stoked on this. John said this is amazing. He asked me if I tried it, and I said no. I was like, I'm going to get a bottle for you. So thanks a ton for that, man. He knows I love Stevns cherries. I think it just has such an awesome flavor. It's a black cherry from Lolland in Denmark. And they've really been made famous by the Danish cherry wine producer called Flagstaff. And they make cherry wines and they use these cherries and they are just outstanding. They are fantastic. I reviewed the Rancho on the channel, which is, really good. I think it's aged in cognac barrels. It's also aged in carboys outside for a very long period of time. I can't remember the entire story about it. That's also not about these guys' wines. It's about this beer. So Brekeriet is, again, making some really, really nice stuff. It's been a while since I tried something from them, actually, even though I have some in the cellar. I actually have a smoked wild ale from them, which will be fun to try. And now I got some more because he sent us lilac and I forget the last name of the other one. But let's check this one out. So poured, a very, very red color. You usually get that with these black cherries. It's like, it almost looks black on camera, but it's like a really, really dark maroon red or something like that. And pouring out, huge pink head, but it dissipated really, really quickly. And I can just smell like almondy cherry goodness from here. So let's dive in. Thanks a ton for the beer, John. Oh yeah, that smells really nice. Oh, there's so much almond. Like, there's a lot of cherry, but there's so much freaking almond. Like, really, really heavy almond aroma. And that comes from the cherry pits often. Like, marzipan, almond, vanilla. There's definitely some vinous, like, I couldn't tell if it's red wine by the color, you dissociate red wine, but there's like something that reminds you of wine in it as well. I also like, by the way, that it says natural beer. I guess that's to play into the whole natural wine thing going on at the moment. But yeah, it smells really good. Vanilla, there's a whiff of cinnamon, kiss of it just. And then there's this really nice, jammy, fruity black cherry. And this is like, I don't think, the only thing that comes close to this in like intense, awesome cherry goodness and like vanilla and everything is Skarbekse cherries from Pajottenland. I don't think I've ever had any beer with cherries that come close to this kind of depth in terms of character. They're just amazing. There's so much depth. Like, it smells so good. Let's try it. Cheers. Thanks a ton, John. That's really, really nice. It's actually surprisingly sweeter than I expected. It's got like a lot of sweet almond kind of flavor. It's not like really sweet. It's dry beer and it's sour, but it just had an initial popper sweetness that I did not expect. Really full bodied too, like really, really slick and silky. Often wild ales can be really dry and whatnot, but this This actually has a lot of body, which is quite nice. The ABV is, I think, 8%. Wow. That also explains a bit. But it's really velvety and like a really rich vinous red wine type quality. And then like loads of this deep black cherry. But there's also like a bit of like mixed forest berry and like blackberry and like maybe even hints of blackcurrant. But like blackberry and what's it called? The other berry, boysenberry, like these kind of flavors. There's a bit of that, and I'm guessing that could be from the barrels, maybe, or it's just like again the complexity of the, like I said, cherry in beers. It often develops to give other types of fruit flavors and not just like black cherry, and then loads of almond and vanilla. It's not really funky. It's pretty like straightforward in its character, like wood, vanilla, like the berry and everything, and like in all these complex fruit notes. But a really nice tannic structure too. It's got some really nice, quite well balanced tannins actually. Like it doesn't bite as much on your palate, and that dryness is just a really nice. Like it's sweet up front, but like a really nice finishing dryness. It's like I like it more and more the more I sip on it. There's even maybe a hint of a tobacco kind of note going on too. I even lost my train of thought there. I was talking about something else, but yeah, it's really really good. It's like it's actually also a bit of a sipper because it's really rich and dense, and super complex. Like this is a great, like, actually instead of a big stout, something like this sitting as a digestive or whatever in you're in front of the TV or the fireplace or whatever. Instead of a big stout, this is actually also really nice because it's much richer than a lot of other sour ales, and so dense and compacted with flavor, or wild ales. But it's not really funky. But I don't really think it needs it. Like maybe the softest kiss of funk is there, but like it's not like I'm wanting more funk. Like I'm really satisfied the way like it is already. And there's also something that also reminds me, and that might be just because it's wine barrel aged, but there's also a connotation that reminds me of some of the natural wines I've had because they're more acidic and like they have like you get that tannic structure as well, which is definitely from the cherries, and possibly also the barrel, of course, the wood. So there's something that's dragging me into like a natural wine world with this as well, like a natural red wine. But since it's so robust, like it's a really robust sour beer and heavy. Not like it's quite easy drinkable, but it feels heavier than like say a goose, for example, or just like any other like a regular creek, the Lindeman's Creek. Like everyone knows that one. It feels much more heavy and dense, and like that's why I'm saying like this is more of a contemplating beer than that one maybe. But like if you love cherry, this is what you need to get. And if you've tried anything with Flagstaff cherries, you really really or Stevns cherries, you really 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 need to get this. But yeah, this is fantastic. Dare I say world class. It's probably the best Brekeriet beer I've had in. Well, I haven't drunk a lot of Brekeriet lately, but it just takes me back to having the cassis. Like I'm maybe not as blown away as I was by trying cassis back in the day, or double cassis or whatever. But that was like the first time when I had beers that had such high fruit intensity. But this is just so damn tasty. Like I'm just enjoying every minute of drinking this, and the balance of sourness and fruit intensity and sweetness and everything and dryness is so good. Like it never gets too sour or too dry at any point. Like it reminds me of the when I like Mikler was starting to play around with these cherries as well. It's like now this is even more robust, and those were actually also a bit more sour. But I think this is definitely merits a 95. This is, I think it's a world, like, this is, I since you just picked it up, I'm guessing this is, I don't know if it's a shelfie, but it must be easy to get into Stempelhagen. You usually need to buy bottles and just age this and see how it develops, because I think this is like, it's really good. Like, if you love wine, and if you love, like, I love it, dense red wines, and there's like the tannic structures, and I talked a little bit about tobacco and things like that. Like, you find in dense red wines, paired with the fruitiness and intensity of a Stevns cherry and all these layers of vanilla and almond and all that, and then like a little bit of this, wild ale type thing going on with very soft funk. Like if you like these kind of things, you'd really dig this, and then you'd love to have bottles of this in your cellar. So yeah, like a 95, I think, maybe a small 95. I think I like Jester King's. I gave that a higher. I think maybe 96 actually. So let's just stick with the 95. I like that a bit more. I think that had a little bit more complexity, but the wine barrels really work well with this, and they give awesome layers too. Fucking great. Again, it's one of the best Brekeriet beers I've had in a long time, but again, I haven't had that much as of late. But fuck, man, this is great. If you haven't tried this, you need to drink it. And it's also like it's got so much flavor, but it's never too much or over the top at any point. You will easily smash a bottle of this on your own. It's so good, but it's also definitely something you can share. But yeah, fucking great, man. Thanks a ton, John. I love these cherries, man. They just taste so damn great. I've actually never eaten one fresh. I need to go visit Frederiksdal and actually eat the cherries and buy some wine. But yeah, this is dope. So yeah, if you guys had a chance to try these Stevns from Brekeriet, let me know what you thought of it. Fucking dope. One of the best Swedish sour beers I've had in a long time. World class. There, I said it. World class. 95. Fucking great. And I'm going to say cheers and thanks a ton to John for the beer, and see you guys in another beer review.